going on, everybody? Welcome to the Unfiltered Information Podcast. This is episode 2. Josh here with my guest this week, Jeff.
What up?
And we're sitting out here. Nice little fire going, a little rain in the background. Nice little woods out there too. Nice little cozy environment to get you guys going here.
And to get a little technical, it is approximately 9:50 p.m. on Wednesday, February 26th.
So, Sal, you want to tell everyone about yourself a little bit, Jeff?
Well, we're just from a small city out of New England. Just typical football players. And through all the bullshit that our public school systems has put us through, the one thing we did was ask questions. You know, a lot of people just take what they're told and don't ask any questions, and that's kind of why our friendship kind of kindled. And here we are now.
I owe it to Jeffrey to get me down this rabbit hole of the conspiracy theory world that I got into. He introduced me to my first conspiracy, 9/11, and since that happened, it was kind of it was a no-brainer for me. I kept going, riding the wave. So I owe him a big appreciation on that one. And
of course.
He's always been like-minded in that aspect, looking for the truth, questioning the authority, and whatever's bullshit out there. So I thought he'd be a great guest to have on here. I thought you guys would enjoy it, and I know he's happy to be here.
So I'm gonna go make a cup of coffee real quick, but I'll speaking of the truth, let's just cut to the bullshit. With all this legalizing of marijuana and just making drug use regular and normal in our lives, why aren't psychedelics legal? And I'm gonna go make that coffee now.
Well, I'm going to start off with that's a good topic to go on. I'm going to start off with the war on drugs. First of all, the war on drugs has been a complete failure. If we ended the war on drugs right now, we would put over $60 billion into our government's economy in one single year, just instantly. That right there. There's profit to be made off fighting and keeping drugs that do no harm to citizens illegal. Take marijuana, as you explained, for instance. Marijuana is a harmless substance that harms no person, has been responsible for 0 deaths in the history of the world, in the recorded world, and yet it was illegalized for so long. Not even illegalized, demonized. Reefer Madness, all those propaganda films. So I think marijuana can be classified as a hallucinogen, in my opinion, or a psychedelic. Now, this is where I get the little spiritual side of things. I think that hallucinogens and psychedelics can lead us to a realm that we don't physically see on our everyday life. Whether you want to call it dimensions or other worlds that are all around us that our senses can't pick up on, I am a firm believer that is what's going on. I have done psilocybin, as I stated in episode 1 of the podcast, and I absolutely expanded my mind, my consciousness, and my desire to learn the truth even more simply by taking it twice. Now imagine what would happen if, say for instance, someone in my same position who was going through a hardship decided that, you know what, I'm not going to try pharmaceutical medications. They have no results for me personally. I've tried them, they're not working. So I'm going to take something that can't be patented, something that people cannot make money off of, something that grows in the wild. I'm going to take that and I'm going to see if it helps me. Now, for instance, ketamine is extremely useful in helping people with depression, as it has been proven over and over again. Ibogaine has treated addiction. Peyote has treated addiction, created drug dependency, has completely ended that. That right there, magic mushrooms can help treat PTSD, depression, anxiety, bipolar disorder, manic diseases, personality disorders. I mean, the list is endless. There's so many reasons why psychedelics are left illegalized. The biggest thing, too, the pharmaceutical company that shares the same marketplace as these drugs is a $1.2 trillion annual business just in the U.S. That right there is going to tell you everything you need to know of why these substances are illegal. They do no harm, all good. Why would you cure someone of an illness in one little step when you can charge them every single step of the way, what you can with pharmaceutical medications? It is an evil business, and it's fucked up, to say the least.
You know, I think it's funny because I think a lot of people realize that too. I mean, if you obviously there are these cancer foundation and there are Dana-Farber, these big just places that are taking people's money and supposedly doing research. Well, I don't know how much more research they need to do, because if you talk to anyone 40 years older, 40 years of age or older,
yeah.
Sorry. Dude, they all say that they have a cure and there's no point to even donate because they have a cure. And it's like you just said, even I've even heard this in a Family Guy episode. Why would Brian said it?
Yep.
He goes, why would you like you said, cure someone in a day when you could charge them
Every
their
step
whole
of the
life.
week. That's a trend I've noticed too with animated TV shows. They'll drop little truth bombs in there. South Park does it every now and then. The Simpsons obviously does it every fucking episode, more or less, from what it seems like. They're exposing everything.
Yeah, well, people are. I don't even know what to believe anymore with the Simpsons, because people are like posting these memes and posting these pictures of the Simpsons that are predicting the craziest shit. That should be a podcast alone.
Truth in the plain sight. Oh, we could absolutely make a 2-hour one just about the Simpsons and the shit they've predicted. It's endless. But no, I think there's many reasons why psychedelics have been criminalized, and one of them is definitely the war on drugs, which is a complete uptight failure. And the other main one is that there's too much money to be made off pharmaceutical drugs that can be prescribed to symptoms that psychedelics can help cure as well. I mean, for mental disorders, there's a plethora of them. Physical addictions, there's a number of studies proving ibogaine and peyote to be very productive in ending addiction in just one trip. I think John Hopkins did one day for psilocybin and the effects it had on people trying to quit cigarettes after lifelong addictions.
What is psilocybin? Is that
it's like the THC of marijuana is psilocybin is to magic mushrooms.
Huh.
It's like the main, for as far as I know, it's like one of the main compounds in mushrooms that gets people tripping.
Now, it's also, like you said, like, it's kind of illogical to not legalize mushrooms because it is literally scientifically deemed safer than marijuana.
Yes.
And, like, it's funny, though, because one of my buddies who we've talked about, he told me when he was doing mushrooms, he was standing on his second floor and he was looking out the window. And he truly believed at that moment that he could jump out the window. But he said, but that's not what mushrooms does. He goes, I obviously wasn't going to. He goes, but it just expanded my mind and, like, thought I could fly and stuff like that. You know, so what you said that you might have done some mushrooms before. Like, what has it done for you personally?
The first time I did it, I was sitting in my room and I was listening to a nice little album that was very smooth and relaxing. I took
Name drop on the album, perhaps?
What was it? It was Stony by Post Malone.
Okay.
And I sat there, listened to that album, got all cozy, was kind of scared, wasn't sure what to expect. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do it. I'm not going to think about it. Sat there, maybe 20 minutes, half hour later, I started kind of noticing little wave patterns. You know how, like, on a hot day on a sidewalk, how those little things be moving in the sky? Those little waves. Heat waves. I was seeing heat waves, but they were horizontal, and they were going across my whole room. And I started following them with my eyes, and I started giggling to myself. And then,
so you weren't in a state of panic?
No, not at all. Very relaxed. Not to say that I don't promote drug use, because everyone has different experiences with stuff like that. But for me personally, it had no negative effects.
Okay.
It was more just psychological. I was very euphoric and happy, uplifted, very clear thinking. The second time, I was intoxicated with alcohol and marijuana on top of it, and I started seeing Mario and Luigi.
Wow.
Yeah, they were like 2 feet in front of me. That was pretty odd, but that's the only time I've had a physical thing like that.
I'm glad you bring up what the mental effects does, because one topic that I've been dying to get into is, we've talked about it backstage, is mind control. This topic you introduced me called MK Ultra has just basically blown my mind on the fact, and the reason that it's blowing my mind is because everything is literally Googleable, if that's a word. You can literally look up all of this stuff. And a lot of it is even declassified, like you said.
Yep, on the CIA.gov website, you can find evidence of it.
But I'm sure people would love to know what MK Ultra is, so I'm just going to let you go in and drink this shit coffee, by the way. This coffee is awful.
You want to plug the sponsor of the coffee, or?
Oh, absolutely not.
Yeah,
so
we don't got
shitty.
sponsors. Fuck that.
Absolutely. Shit coffee. It doesn't deserve a sponsor.
MK Ultra was a brainwashing operation that underwent in the 1950s to the 70s. 1953 to 73 to be exact. And what it was is soldiers returning from war seemed to be showing signs of sympathy for their enemy. They started reporting to their generals and their higher-ups that they felt bad for what they were doing in war. So the U.S. government came to the conclusion that the enemy must have been using brainwashing technology and techniques to break the subconscious mind of the soldiers to make them feel guilty for killing each other. Now, in rational sense, if you are killing people, you're going to automatically have a counter argument in your head going on. You're going to feel guilt because you're taking someone's life. So the CIA put together this operation that goes by MK Ultra. One prime example of this was in I believe, the 60s to the 70s and even the early 80s in Canada, in a hospital called the Allen Memorial Institute. This man named Dr. Ewan Cameron decided to start giving large amounts of LSD and other psychoactive medications along with intensive psychotherapy sessions to mental patients without their permission.
Now, I got to stop you right there.
Yeah.
Why? Like, what are they, why? Why are they doing this? What was their reason?
Their proper reason was, as I stated, they wanted to make sure that their enemies in war weren't using brainwashing technologies. So their idea was to come up with a way to brainwash themselves. To come up with the brainwash technique themselves. Their idea was large amounts of shock therapy treated with breaking the subconscious mind, along with psychoactive hallucinogens, would be able to break the mind and reprogram it. It did not pan out to be successful. What it really did was destroy the lives of hundreds, if not thousands, of innocent people. This happened in the Memorial Institute, as I claimed. You can most definitely look into that. It's ridiculous that it happened. Another example was the Unabomber. The Unabomber was in this LSD study at Harvard University. That's another thing. The CIA paid off Stanford, Columbia University, Harvard, I want to say Georgia, and a handful of other colleges to just single-handedly give their students LSD to see what would happen. One person who was in with this was John Leary, I believe his name was. He was a psychotherapist at the time who was experimenting with it privately, and he decided to take it up with the CIA. But the Unabomber, as everyone knows, the man who sent bombs to technology moguls,
the famous Unabomber. He
was
was a product of this experiment.
His mind was broken. After that, he came to the conclusion that AI and machines were going to take over, and he went crazy. Now, that is a direct causation of what the U.S. government did. It is also a direct causation that many, including Whitey Bulger, was experimented in prison. Yes, they did it to prisoners as well, without their permission. Sometimes with their permission, but most of the time without it, just to see what would happen.
You know, that's funny because historically, we've seen the effects of too much acid too, and I can relate to Charles Manson. I mean, look what he did. The Manson family was a product of them just taking too much acid, where it got to a point where they convinced themselves that there was going to be a race war, and that the black people were going to win, and that it was going to be blacks against whites, and that black people were going to win, and that they would then take over black people. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, it makes you, like...
I want to make a huge disclaimer here. I'm definitely not sponsoring the use or promoting any use of psychoactive medicine or psychedelics in any situation at any time. I'm personally just sharing what has happened and what I have gone through myself. I do not condone the use of it. I don't want anyone to have a bad trip and have something happen. We don't need any more Charles Mansons or Unabombers out there.
Yeah, that's good. That's good you said that. But what's your opinion? Why did they do this? Not on paper, but why did they do this?
Why do I think they actually went through with it?
Yeah.
Well, when a tyrannical government runs out of control and is completely unchecked by its population, this is what seems to happen.
Just spilt my fucking coffee.
Hey, it happens. That's the government for you. Now, our government for many years has gone unchecked, unregulated, and untalked to. No one has any control over what goes on. Millions, if not billions of dollars every year are wasted on ridiculous things, all taxpayer money. And that, I know this happened over 50 years ago, but still, the fact that was paid for with the tax money of the U.S. citizen is crazy. My biggest reason I think they did it because they can. They knew they weren't going to get in trouble. They knew there was no repercussions. They know no one was going to stop them. I mean, that's...
You know, I think we saw a lot of that in the 80s, too. I know that wasn't the exact decade, but, like, if you watch that movie, the movie that stuck out to me was American Made with Tom Cruise. Have you seen that?
Never seen it.
Basically, he was like a informant that wasn't on paper for the CIA.
Okay. So
and it basically talked about, something like that, except basically just showed how the U.S. government in the 80s staged so many wars and did whatever they thought that they wanted to do.
Hell yeah, they did, yeah.
That can be another topic, but...
That's an hour right there. I mean, all the proxy wars the CIA and the U.S. government have orchestrated and overthrown regimes in other foreign countries is freaking astronomical.
I mean, I also feel like it's literally insane that they did these experiments in the Unabomber, who affected so many people was a product of this, and they don't get to answer to any of it.
They went completely unchecked. And I will give it to the fence a little bit. The Canadian government did issue out a few amounts of payment to families of people affected at the Allen Memorial Institute in the late 90s. If anyone wants to further look into that, you can look up the Fifth Estate, Canada's mind control experiment on YouTube. That's a great documentary about it. It's very short and it gets right to the point.
I also realized I just said U.S. government. I didn't mean.
Oh no, it's the
I
U.S.
got it
government
mixed up.
along with the Canadian government.
Yeah, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But so the other thing that was really picking at me under the topic of mind control was this whole French Village thing you were talking about. And you didn't get into it too much, but what the fuck is that about?
So basically, in 1951, the CIA decided, hey, we're going to see what happens when we expose a group of people to large amounts of LSD without their knowing. Again, a violation of human rights and a waste of American tax money. So they, in a French village, I'm not sure of the exact name, you can look into it, look up, I'll get to that to the end. Basically, they found a storage container of a shit ton of bread that belonged to the local village. So what they did was they sent in operatives, they laced all that bread with humongous amounts of LSD, and had the whole entire village in France tripping, thinking that they were going crazy. Because think about this. Say you're sitting there one day, right, with your family. You're sitting down to eat dinner, and all of a sudden you start seeing shit. You're going to think you're going a little crazy. And then you ask your family about it. They're seeing shit. You look out the window. There's people running down the street. They're seeing shit. You're probably thinking the world's going crazy. People, this is the facts. The fact is that people killed themselves that day because of how hard they were tripping, thinking that they were in danger.
Yeah, and I also feel like a lot of people, like we've gotten to the point in society where like we see something small, like 7 people in a small French village die, like we don't even bat an eye.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And like it like literally shouldn't matter if it's one life anywhere. It is a huge issue.
It's a life that will never be back. Exactly.
You're taking a life.
Exactly.
And also, just in case anyone missed it, how did they exactly incorporate the LSD into the village?
I'm not sure on the details. All I know is that they hijacked their bread supply and applied a large amount of LSD to it to cause them to trip.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's very hard to find info on this.
And it's 1951. Too,
1951.
So like, I feel like it's so easy to do something back then.
Yeah.
No one's looking at anything. No one's
Not
batting
at all.
an eye.
Not at all. That's the thing. There is an extensive past with these types of subjects, especially with the LSD. Now, I want to disclaim, LSD isn't the only drug that they used. For this particular one, they did. But for MK Ultra and its predecessors, MK Delta and MK Naomi, they used methamphetamines, they used cocaine, they used marijuana, they used psilocybin. But for the most part, LSD was primarily the biggest one. What's another example? Midnight Climax. That's another example of the CIA lacing the population.
Well, what population?
The U.S. population. This one.
Where exactly do you know?
San Francisco and Boston are the two epicenters of where this happened.
That's pretty close. Huh?
Pretty fucking close.
Go Bees.
So what happened was the CIA operatives were given LSD. They were supposed to meet up with prostitutes in the respected cities, give the prostitutes a sum of money, give them the LSD, and when the prostitutes met a man, they would bring them back to a hotel or a place that the CIA operative would sit behind a one-sided mirror and watch this happen. He would sit there and watch the woman, the prostitute that is, give the LSD to the man and then seduce him and watch and see what would happen. Now, no one died under my knowledge of this, but again, this is an unknowing, unwilling person being given an extremely potent substance to alter their mind state. And again, that's called Operation Midnight Climax. It most definitely did happen. I'm not sure in the exact year. I want to say in the 70s, though.
All that big baller, like, sketchy sexual sex underground trade thing, that, like, I think that's a lot more common than we think. And I think that one of the things I saw it in recently that made me, like, think about this was that thing on Netflix that just came out called Don't Fuck with Cats. That's the name of it.
Is that the crazy cat guy, right?
Well, yeah. So he starts off posting videos of cats dying. He's killing cats.
Oh.
And then he's leaving breadcrumbs because he wants to get caught.
Okay.
I won't get too into it, but basically he ends up taking like a half-hour video or it was a 10-minute video, and he just was sawing this poor this poor kid, like just random
Child?
20-year-old.
Oh, man.
Sorry, I said kid.
No,
I mean,
what up,
poor,
kid?
this poor 20-year-old, and he just was cutting him in every way possible, and just dismembered him severely, like beyond repair. But and you know, he got caught, and one of the things he blamed it on, well, he said like, I was abused sexually in the underground sex world, and he said that they were making me do all of these things. Now, they never found any evidence that the guy he was referring to existed, but it made me think like I think he's an evil motherfucker, and I think he did everything, and he should be in jail if not dead.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like,
if he had traumas that led up to that,
like they could be making people do anything.
Yeah.
Like, if you really think about it. And I just think it's insane. If you have money, you can do anything you want. Anything you want.
What really blows me away, this is off topic, but it correlates. Every year in the U.S., roughly 800,000 children go missing, okay? That is a ridiculously large number. Now, 1/4 of those people, roughly, of those children, are taken by a relative. The other 3/4 are taken by strangers. Now, 3/4 of 800, I'm not a math guy, but that's roughly 600,000 people, right? So you're telling me that of all those 600,000 people, that I'd say a strong fraction of them are probably involved with some sort of illegal sexual trafficking. And I'm not trying to shed light on a negative situation. I'm just, it's inevitable that that's happening.
I think Ashton Kutcher has shown that there are a lot of these evil motherfuckers.
Yep.
Do you know anything about Ashton Kutcher?
I know he was exposing a little bit of that. I know a lot about the Isaac Cappy situation. He did the same thing before his passing, where he was exposing a lot of the pedophilia.
Who is Isaac Cappy?
He was an actor and a screenwriter who, you're going to love this one. He committed suicide by jumping off a bridge and getting hit by a truck.
So, that makes no sense.
No. I'm going to tell you right now, who the fuck jumps off a... I'm not condoning suicide, but who jumps off a bridge to kill themselves like that?
And then gets hit by
a truck.
It's like jumping out of a plane and getting hit by a boat or something.
It's crazy. Isaac Cappy exposed, Seth Green?
Yeah.
He was very close friends with Seth Green. And then one day Seth Green...
The little ginger guy.
Yeah, little ginger guy.
Who was in
pedophilia.
Yeah.
This man, Isaac Cappy, was a hero, in my opinion. He exposed that Seth Green introduced him to the world of Hollywood pedophilia.
Oh, I bet that little ginger motherfucker, dude. I bet he was. Sick bastard.
He called out Spielberg, Tom Hanks, Oprah, the Clintons. He called out Harvey Weinstein, actually, too, which is a big one. He called out a bunch of people who had close ties to Jeffrey Epstein. Me and Doug talked about this in depth for a while because of how many people he actually called out by name that were connected with Epstein and other big sex rings like that. It's incredibly sickening and annoying to even think about.
I also think that it's never ending because if you have money, who is going to stop you?
100%.
You will get killed.
You can pay off.
Get killed. Like money, everyone has a price. There is no limit.
Now
real quick before you go in, I just wanted to add on to your little statistic. I don't have an exact statistic, but there's a picture floating around Facebook and floating around Twitter and Instagram.
As it tends to do.
It's a map on top of a map.
Okay.
And it's a map of America, and it has dots of every missing person in the last 10 years, right?
Yeah.
And then on top of that, it has a map of the railroad systems, and literally the underground railroad systems, and like that were like supposedly like secretive. I don't know. I didn't look too much into it, but I think we could do a podcast on this. They are literally like all the areas people are getting taken are all the areas where underground railroads are.
And that's interesting.
I think we won't get into it too much, but I think a lot of the shit that's going on is going on underground. Okay. I think that they have trains that can go from California to Boston in like an hour. Think about it. If you have one straight shot,
there's no problem.
And you're telling me that they're not doing anything underground? People...
I mean, Elon Musk is literally building tunnels as we speak.
He's literally
building tunnels.
Fuck Los Angeles. It's LA, right?
Yeah, he's like, I don't give a fuck. I'm tired of traffic.
LA's a shithole anyway. Sorry if you're from LA, but it's okay. Boston's not too nice either. But
no, I've heard a lot of about the deep underground military bases or the DUMBs that the military has. I've heard a lot of stories about alien encounters around those and in those.
Like accidental drillings.
Yep, accidental drillings. Have you ever heard of the Agartha or the Inner Earth?
I haven't.
That's another one.
And real quick, because we're getting a little off the rails here,
we derailed a little bit there.
I just want to tell anyone who's listening that if you think something is wrong, don't stop questioning it. because they're trying to perpetuate people who they label them as conspiracy theorists. When people who just live their everyday lives, when they hear conspiracy theorists, they look the other way. They think you're crazy.
They think
you're
tinfoil
wrong.
hat type of thing.
Yeah, they think alien, ET phone home. Like, a lot of the shit that's going on is obvious and in our faces. And that not everything, we don't think everything is a conspiracy. We don't think Gucci Mane got clones. Like, we don't think all that stupid shit. We just literally think what the facts are in front of us. That they just simply do not want to tell us because they do not want to answer to anything.
Listen, the way I see it is if they openly admit to lacing psycho patients and prisoners without their knowledge, what the fuck are they not telling us about?
I know.
That's how I see it. The things they admit to are god-awful.
And we keep talking about all these things we're going to talk about. I think we got to go down.
Oh, we definitely, yeah.
Write down some shit.
We're going to give this a listen to. I mean, that's the thing. There are so many topics.
We'll have a million podcasts.
Oh man, there's so many topics that I would love to go into depth and even learn about myself. Because
plus, we're gonna get some better audio too for you guys.
Oh, we got mics coming soon, and video format is coming soon as well. We'll be transitioning to YouTube within the next few podcasts.
I mean, like we said, like, we're literally outside right now. I don't know how we got a fire going, but it's like kind of raining.
A little misty fog. It's a great night, folks. Great night.
10 feet away from the wood line. Like, it's real nice.
Couldn't be a better situation here.
Yeah, but I think that another thing that I was talking about that's right in front of our faces, and this is we said we were going to talk about it because I was coming on tonight, but I think it's so in front of our faces, but I think it's also a very sensitive issue because so many people perished and so many people were affected by this. It's 9/11.
9/11.
I think that I've done a lot of research, and I've also I've said some things that I regret. I think that, like, the whole Bush did 9/11 thing is stupid, and, like, you can disagree, but, like, I just think that George Bush, they would never tell that clown anything.
George Bush almost died while eating a pretzel. He did not pull off the most intricate terrorist attack known to humanity, okay, folks?
And I think that
is a meme in itself.
I think that if we're going to get into this, I want to make a few things clear. I lost what I was saying real quick. Oh, yeah, I want to make a few things clear. I don't know why it happened. I don't think it happened I definitely don't think it happened the way they said it happened.
No way.
I don't know what the motive was. If that was true, I don't know what the motive was. I'm not going to say anything. And I also, like, I'm kind of a dickhead, but I also give respect and everything. And, like, I would never disrespect 9/11 and all the families that were affected by it. Because then again, this is my country. Like,
for sure.
We were 1 year old when this happened. Like, we got literally just devastated.
9/11 too. It shaped the way that not just America, but the way the world functions today.
Oh yeah, post 9/11, America begged for security.
Yes,
and they just begged.
But did we? That's where I differ.
I think we did. I think everyone was like, save me.
I think the government said, we need to secure you. We need to keep you safe. Here, let me wiretap everyone's phone. Let me put up.
That has to be a podcast.
Oh man, it's ridiculous.
I think if we're gonna get into 9/11, I'll ask the one question that no one else has answered for me yet, and I've talked to history teachers, just everything, college professors, everything. Why was it that the plane that hit the Twin Towers, they recovered the passport of one of the terrorists,
Muhammad Atta,
that were on the plane?
Muhammad Atta's passport survived not only a plane crashing into a building, but a building catching on fire, a building collapsing at free fall speed, a building crumbling upon itself, and a building having molten lava at the demolition site.
I think it's just...
Through all that, a passport survived, folks. A passport. A paper fucking passport. Pardon my language, but god damn it, that is the most absurd thing I've ever heard in the history of the world.
I think it's disrespectful to say that it did.
I
wish they never said that, because it just raised so many alarms itself. And then you have, like, I know you were big on this specific part of 9/11.
Yeah.
The third building or something.
Oh, World Trade Center 7 that housed the NSA, all the security agencies. The building fell at free fall speed. No plane hit it. It fell to office fires. It's the first steel and concrete reinforced building in the history of the fucking world, folks, to fall by office fires. Well, please, if anyone can prove me wrong, I beg you to comment or message me. I beg you, because it has never happened in the history of the known world. But I guess that, hey, it doesn't matter. It just fell. There's also first responder testimony saying that you cannot find this on YouTube anymore. It got taken off of YouTube. There's audio clips of first responders talking about how they had to pull the building because they were commanded to. Now, what you don't hear every day is that the man who owned the World Trade Center 7 and the World Trade Center, the other two that were attacked, Larry Feinstein or Feinberg, I forget his exact name, that man took out a huge insurance policy on all those buildings, and he struck ridiculously rich after that terrorist attack.
Now, there are a lot of things. Like, there was that big documentary on Netflix that, like, the guy's life got ruined for questioning 9/11, you know? And I think that there's a lot of bullshit, fake things that people create just to generate, like,
Buzz
attention
around it,
and
yeah.
buzz. And I think that one of the things was a video I saw of a girl talking about watches and, like, the times and stuff. And it just turns out, like, that, like, something to do with, like, they had dinner that morning and then, like, the one morning he didn't have dinner or something like that, and I'm pretty sure it got wicked debunked. Like, I'm pretty sure that was just like complete bullshit.
What he's referring to is that there was a theory out there. I guess they kind of presented as factual that Larry Feinstein and his daughter missed work that day. They were running late because they had a breakfast or something prior to it. That's why they weren't there. I don't know. I think there's a lot bigger parts of 9/11 that don't add up. The Pentagon is the biggest one in my opinion. That's the smoking gun. People say World Trade Center 7 is a smoking gun, but I'd say the smoking gun is the Pentagon, undeniably. It's roughly 45-foot hole was left in the side of the Pentagon, the most secured building in the whole entire world at the time. And a Boeing 757, the plane that crashed into all those Pentagon and the World Trade Center buildings, the wingspan on that thing is over 140 feet alone.
Oh yeah, the Pentagon hit is like literally borderline illogical.
There was 82 cameras around the facility, and there's not one clear video.
The fifth most protected building in the world at the time, or something like that, and like the gas station across the street's the only camera.
Yep. Let's not forget that camera was confiscated instantly because there was no plane that.
I mean, it's not like they're not. It's not like they're saying that there are no other footages of it. You know what I mean? It's just like they're obviously
they just won't say it. Yeah, that's the thing. They don't say that they had a failure with the cameras or anything. Yeah. They admit that they have the camera footage. They just won't show it.
And real quick, this isn't even a conspiracy theory. It's just something that gets my ass. Why is it that like convenience stores and like banks and stuff have the shittiest quality cameras? Like when they like post shit on the news, like saying like
robberies
look for him,
shit,
like you literally cannot see the person's face. Like they are terrible quality. But the fucking my iPhone can take a beautiful picture. It can take a night mode now. Like I can make fucking night turn into light.
Yeah, there's no excuse to have a shitty camera nowadays. It's the 21st century.
I don't think that's a conspiracy. I just think it's fucking stupid. But wow, I think we went a lot more fast paced than we thought.
Yeah, we just went right into it.
We gotta prepare a little better and, you know, spend some more time on this. But
it's what it's all about, though. It's all about getting these ideas out there. Because, you know, I feel like a lot of people are having these ideas, but they're either too ashamed or too afraid to talk about it with people around them for fear of discrimination and being looked down upon. Guys, if you're having thoughts about shit like this, reach out to someone. You know what I mean? Plant the seed in their brain. See if it fucking grows. If it doesn't, reach out to someone else and try it. Because you know what? All it takes is you telling one person your idea to change the world. Not conspiracy-wise, any idea-wise. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Go big or go home.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we're finite life forms. We might as well have some fun while we're here.
So I don't know who you're doing the next one with, but I think that some shit we got to go over is fucking Kurt Cobain. That is, I need to talk about that.
He's got a mean conspiracy on Cobain. Let's go. Go into it. Let me hear it.
It's, well, basically...
I'm interested.
I can't go too much into it because we got to save a specific podcast for it.
Fair enough.
But I'm telling you, man, watch Soaked in Bleach. Google it. It's a documentary. It will help expand the things I'm going to say right now, at the least. And he simply didn't kill himself. I mean, if we want to talk, like, literally the crime scene alone, not based off all the motive and how Seattle PD was on a payroll by Courtney Love, but
wow, that's a bold accusation.
I think it's like the first time in history, like they've declared a suicide like that day. That's just something you don't do.
I didn't know that.
Leave an investigation open. Like they literally like went over and said it was immediate suicide. They cremated the body in 6 days. They gave the shotgun that he killed himself with back to Courtney Love, and she had it destroyed. Like, and when they found the shotgun, based off the situation, they didn't release any autopsy photos until this documentary came out. Then they started releasing photos
to cover their asses. I'm assuming.
And they still won't even release them all. And they say that they don't have usually you have to release autopsy photos, but I guess some rules or some legal bullshit, they don't have to. I mean, I think it's literally ridiculous that the gun was on the bullet casing was on the wrong side of where the gun would have fired. And he had 3 times the lethal amount of heroin.
Yeah, I know the heroin thing.
He physically couldn't pick up a gun.
Yeah.
He physically couldn't pick up a gun and do it. It just is impossible. The whole thing's impossible. We're gonna have a whole other podcast coming on that. I also want to talk about JFK. We got to get some shit going.
JFK, that's a big one. JFK had a weird autopsy as well. His brain went missing for a little while. I don't know if you know that.
No.
Yeah, there was an autopsy done on him, and his brain was missing for a little while.
It's also a little interesting how there's just randomly 100,000 Germans in the middle of Argentina. That's cool. Yeah, you don't think that they knew that they were going to lose in World War II and just put all their funding into submarines and sent them away so they wouldn't get in trouble?
The ones that didn't get sent away were brought over in a paperclip.
Oh, yeah.
You know, that operation with 30,000 Nazi scientists were brought over.
We're getting the people too hyped up, but I think that's a good thing.
A lot of upcoming things here, folks.
All right, I think we're going to end that, yeah? We're going to end this tonight.
It's a good little one here. It's a little brisk out here. We'll talk to you all soon.
What time is it? How long did we...
What are we doing? Let's take a look.
10:26. Not bad, not bad.
I don't even know. 37 minutes-ish?
Something like that, yeah.
It's a little short. No big deal.
All right,
guys. Appreciate you guys tuning in.
Good night, people. Look
New
up.
one coming soon. One love. Hey, keep spreading positivity out there. That's how we beat the negativity. One love.